guys, welcome back to the Coco channel and to another Q&A. We have a special guest. It's Mr. Coco. Yay! So we did one of these before Andrew left. If you are new to my channel, hello, welcome. I am Mrs. Coco, and this is the Coco channel. My husband was deployed for what it felt like forever. It was close to 7 months. He likes to say 6, but I'm gonna go ahead and bump it up to 7 because it was a little bit in between. So we did one of these before he left. I think it was back in December. So if you did miss that video, I will link it down below so you can catch those Q's and A's. So today, a couple weeks ago actually, I asked you to ask me some questions both on YouTube and on Instagram. If you ever miss it, there is a community tab on YouTube where I post polls and things of that nature in case you are not on Instagram. Otherwise, Instagram is where the party's at from the day-to-day basis. So I think there's only 3 here on YouTube. We'll start off with those. Christina says, aside from missing each other, what is the hardest part of deployment for the both of you? I'll let you go first. Oh my god.
So yeah, besides the family aspect of it, I'd say for me is the lead up to it. A lot of training, you know, we have to go out of state. We're going to Texas to go train and all that stuff like that. And then we still have stuff to do here before we leave. And it's a lot of busy work, you know. And then once we're there, just getting adjusted to the schedule. I work nights over there, and that's always hard. I do it here. I've done it here as well, but over there it's just a little bit different. Like longer hours for sure. And it's not like your typical job where you work from this hour to this hour and you're done. We work from this hour and then we get off when we get relieved. So that could be 12, 13, 14 hours.
Not to mention the fact you have to show up early on top of that for like guard mount and all that. So when they say 12 hours, it's really like 14 and a half to 15.
Yeah, I showed up, let's see, I would usually get to the armory around about 7:30ish, roughly about 7:30 every day. We wouldn't start work until 9. And then anywhere from sometimes pushing 10 o'clock the following morning, we would get off or get back to our dorm room. But I mean, it could always be worse.
Yeah.
It could always be worse for us. You know, we had it pretty good over there. So
that's one of the most amazing things about Andrew is that no matter if it's the crappiest situation, he's always like, you know, it is what it is, and there's, you know, he's just so calm and mellow about it. Whereas I am not like that, which is why I married Andrew. For me, I think the hardest part of deployment was just that like feeling of being overwhelmed. For me at home, like literally everything was on my shoulders. You know, there's nothing Andrew can do from over there, so you don't even think about stuff like that. Like this, Andrew does a lot. He does a lot more than a lot of husbands that I know, not only with the kids but with the house, and you don't really realize some of the smaller things until they're gone, like picking up dog poop, or, you know, like searching for bugs, or, you know, just small stuff. And so not only the small stuff, you have like the huge things, you know, and we went through a lot of huge things while Andrew was gone. He hadn't even been, we were in the house for like, what, 6 months when he left. And so you have like a brand new house that, you know, I've never had a house completely to myself ever in my entire life of this size. Plus 2 small kids. Like, I would go through a week and I would be fine. I'm like, I am doing this. Like, I got this under control. I'm on lock. And then there would be a week where 5 things happen and I just feel like there's no way I could go on. Like, I need to write somebody a letter and Andrew needs to come home right now. Not that that would literally ever work. But, you know, just that wave of feeling overwhelmed and panicked and kind of at a loss of like, I don't think I can do this anymore. Like, that was the hardest part for me. It's just so many things and having everything on your shoulders. And sometimes, you know, like coming out of it, you're like, yeah, I did that. And I'm like really proud of myself for it. And other people telling you that, like, I'm really proud that you did that. But when you're in it, you're just like, there's just no way. There's just no way I can do this. It's too hard, but we did it. Simply Enjoying Life says, I'm newer to your channel, so perhaps you've talked about this elsewhere, but how long have you been married?
We got married June of 2011.
Yep, so we just hit 8 years in June. And she said, how did you meet?
We met through a mutual friend.
Yes, we did. If you want the full story, there's a video on it. I'll link it down below. Beth Wade, Miss Beth, says, now that Andrew is home, are you going to be shopping for that new car? And ... will it be bigger for possibly baby number 3? Winky face.
Yeah, we started. Look, we were talking about before I left, talking about getting a new car. And then when I got back, a couple days after I got back, we actually went in the CarMax and we looked at them. Before I left, actually, we went to some of the dealers as well, and we test drove a couple of cars. So yeah, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when we get a new car. We're just kind of trying to decide on the best time, seeing who has deals and that kind of stuff. We kind of have a good idea of what kind of car we want. It's a toss-up right now. Two pretty good, strong contenders. Yeah,
so, it's between what, the Highlander and the
Chevy Equinox?
Equinox, yeah. And so we're just comparing like banks and APRs and like all the stupid minute details. A lot of the dealerships like won't even talk to you unless you're pre-approved, which we've been pre-approved 2 places, but you always want to get the best deal, because Andrew and I literally haven't had a car payment in like 8 years. Our car's been paid off, and so we don't want to jump straight into like a $600 car payment, which a lot of those, crossover and SUVs are expensive, and your car payment's like super, super high. As far as baby number 3, I think him and I are, he always says like whatever I'm happy with, and he would be more than happy with the 2 that we have right now or 3, and he's literally the best dad ever. I keep going back and forth with like where we are right now is so nice. It's so balanced with like number 1, 2, it's like an even number, plus it's 1 boy, 1 girl, and obviously it's never up to us, it's always up to God and his plan. But I think for right now, we're just really happy and content, and the kids are getting a little bit older, which is nice. We can do more things, and so starting all over with a baby right now, in my mind, I'm like, no thanks. Especially because I was just butting myself with them for so long. I'm like, no more babies, no more kids. That's how I feel right now, but that could always change. So, Gigi Mama 444, how did y'all meet? Again, video link down below.
Yeah, it was. I worked with this girl, and she happened to be roommates with Brittany. Yeah. And that's how we kind of connected. When Brittany was thinking about going into the Air Force.
That's what it really was.
That's how we connected, yeah.
Yeah. We fell in love hard, and we fell in love fast. We started talking in February. We started dating in March. He proposed in April, and we got married in June. When you know, you know. We're a perfect example. Not that we're telling you to do that, but we knew.
Yeah, it worked out for us. Here we are almost a decade later.
Yeah, we lasted a little bit longer than some couples that we know that were like high school sweethearts. So I don't think that, anyways, they're not asking for marriage advice, but we got married very fast, and we met through, I had a roommate that worked with Andrew before he joined the military. Miss Lacquered Mizzy, Miss Myra says, what was the thing that made each of you think, I'm gonna marry him or her?
I think initially I didn't really even think about it, to be honest with you. I was kind of more of like we're gonna get to know each other, and then maybe like a year later or something like that, we'll get married. Yeah, like the whole marriage wasn't even on my mind at that time.
I literally made him propose. I can actually admit it.
Yeah, it was, and being like a brand new airman, you're so busy. Like the last thing on your mind is like marriage, just because you're like really, really busy. So with like tech school and then getting to your new base, and then when you get to your new base, you still have, you know, some work to do there before you can even start your job, and you're just so busy that marriage wasn't even on my mind, you know.
I didn't know right away because, like I said, or he said, we met because my roommate gave you my phone number because I was going into the Air Force, which a lot of people probably don't know, and I was going for security forces, and he had just graduated boot camp and was going into tech school. So like everyone goes to boot camp, it's 8 weeks for the Air Force, and then you like kind of disperse and go to your like trade. So, you know, a lot of the tech schools may be there at Lackland, and then some are like in other areas depending on like what training you're getting. And so we started talking because he was going to give me like inside information about like boot camp and like what to expect, and I thought I was going to like totally have a leg up on everybody else, you know, getting all this information, and we just really made each other laugh, and he was different than any other dude I had ever met. You guys who have been with me for a while have heard like my dating horror stories. Like I was dating like stupid idiots that, you know, were just the worst, and even like the way they talked. And so he was like different than any dude I had ever met, and he was just calm and patient, and he was freaking funny, like in a different kind of humor. He was like nerdy, which, you know, I never dated nerds or anything like that, and he was just honestly perfect for me. Like it's exactly what, I don't know, we were just made for each other. Like we are exact opposites in so many ways, but we balance each other out and so because of it. And then we also have like a really good common ground that we have like things in common, and obviously otherwise we wouldn't be married. But I pretty much knew right away, and so we talked about marriage on the phone, you know, before he got home from tech school, and I was pushing the engagement, and originally we were going to be engaged the full year. Like he was gonna go, we were in Vegas, like that's where him and I met and where we're from, and then he got stationed at Andrews in DC, and I knew that with my record of not like jail time or anything like that, but I had speeding tickets and stuff like that, and at Andrews like you had to have crisp, like clean records to get the clearance. It's like above security or top secret clearance that you need for this base, because it's like for the president. This isn't like secret information. I'm not giving away like anything, you know, hidden behind closed doors or anything. But we just knew that I wasn't going to get that clearance, and we couldn't imagine not being together. And so I gave up everything for Andrew. I'm just kidding. I decided not to go into the Air Force. Like Andrew never ever said, you know, have you thought about maybe not doing it for me or anything like that. He would never do that. But I was like, there's no way that the Air Force wasn't even, number one, something that I wanted, like wasn't like a lifetime goal of mine. I was just getting into a lot of trouble in Vegas, and I wasn't finishing school. I was going to school for radiology, and I was getting into trouble and just not doing the right things. And so the Air Force was gonna not only help me go to school, it was gonna get me like back to where I needed to be. So it wasn't like something that, you know, like a lifelong dream that I was giving up for Andrew. It was like, this is something else and more important, and I can still do school. Like I felt like, you know, marrying Andrew and being with him was going to be better than like being in the Air Force, and then him and I not even being together, and I don't think it would have worked out. Long distance and long term like is really, really hard to do. A lot of people don't make it, especially in the military world, and that's just based off of experience, not like statistics or anything, just like what we've heard and stuff like that. And so yeah, I mean, I pushed it really, really hard. And so he proposed, and we were gonna do the year, and he left. And by like, I think June, he left in April, and maybe it was even May, that we were like, let's not be apart that long. And in order to be with each other, like you have to be married to live with each other on base. So we did our little courthouse wedding in June, and it was like all, I don't know, just great from there, really. Do you feel rushed? Did you feel rushed?
Initially, yeah.
And everybody we told that story to, where they were like, what are you doing? You don't even know this person.
Yeah.
Was that specific? Like, you didn't really say like what it was about me that you wanted to marry. You just said that.
No, it was really easy to talk to you. I think you're the first like woman that I felt like I could just be like myself around. You know, I was just what you see is what you get, and that, you know, and I was just being me. I felt comfortable enough to be me, you know, to be myself.
My little nerd. That's who I fell in love with. That's it? That's why you wanted to marry me? Is because you could be nerdy in front of me?
Yeah.
Okay. Rays of Sunshine 93 says, is Andrew going to retire with the military, or is he thinking about becoming civilian again?
Yeah, I'm gonna, hopefully I'm able to retire as military. That's my plan, you know. I only, coming up on 9, yeah. This November will be 9 years, so.
It would be silly not to if you're not able, or if you are able to. Chris Loves Makeup says, do you guys have similar parenting style? How do you deal if different? We are completely different parents. Well, I wouldn't say completely different. Andrew just has more patience than I do. Golly, I wish I had just like a syringe of his patience. He's the most patient person you'll ever meet in your entire life. I am like, you know, okay, that's enough. And then straight to like, that's enough. Whereas Andrew like is really good about being like, oh yeah, you know, and then he like redirects their attention and like has like this beautiful transition from meltdown into like playing on the floor, you know. He just, I think other than that, him and I grew up in similar households to where it was like very much spanking and screaming and yelling and name calling and, you know, all of that, which a lot of, you know, our parents' generation, like that's how you raised your kids. You spanked them and you yelled at them and put them in their room, and then they came out and knew to behave. And so we knew that we didn't want to go like that route. I still scream. I'm just naturally a loud person though. Do you think? Rude.
I think we work well as a team.
Yes.
You know, we do have differences in our styles, but at the end of the day, we still we don't step on each other's toes when it comes to like discipline or, you know, whatever it may be. I think that's the most important thing.
We've been told before too, actually by Andrew's dad. He told me one day, he's like, I watch you guys and you move silently without saying anything to each other, like to get whatever, you know what I mean, needs to be done with like the kids, whether it's bath time or, you know, meal time or anything. Like Andrew and I have like really good, we make a really good team. Again, it's all about that balance because we are a little bit different. Like, I don't know, we just balance each other out and like we make a really good team, I think.
Yeah.
Miss Eileen said, how did you guys meet? Kalista Crawford, has reality hit or is it still goo-goo? When I read that, I laughed so hard and I sent her a message and I started laughing, goo-goo. I think that we're easing back into it. There hasn't been like a, you know, Band-Aid ripped off from reality versus like him being home. I think that first day, if I could have unzipped his skin and crawled in with him, I would have. Like I was just like a leech attached to him the first couple days. But we still like look at each other and I'm like, man, it's so good to have you home. Like it's still kind of surreal because it was so long. What about for you?
Yeah, I think I've kind of like fallen back into it. Not all the way yet. I'm still. It's almost like for me, it just stopped. You know, like when it comes to Aiden, like doing certain things with him, and I come back here and I still try and do those things, and Brady's like, oh, he doesn't like that anymore. He doesn't do it. You know, or you know, just stuff like that. You know, or they outgrew this, and that's what when I left, it was still the new fun thing, but now it's just like they zero interest in it. You know. So it's a little bit of a relearning process, but at the same time, I'm just falling into it pretty easily, pretty well.
Miss Kelly Hughes says, do you want more children? We already answered that one.
Yeah.
You didn't really answer it though.
Oh.
I kind of answered for you.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't be against having more children. You know, I mean, ultimately, I don't think it'd be fair for for me just to be like, hey, we're gonna have another kid, and then, you know, I don't think that would be fair, or, you know, but, you know, if it's something that we both wanted, then yeah, absolutely. But it just has to be right time, right place, you know, that kind of stuff.
Miss Danny Nicole says, what are you most excited to do as a family now that he's home? Everything. Meals together, walks together. We're going camping again. Not having Andrew at the last camping trip was like bitter sweet, you know. It was actually a lot more bitter than it was sweet. Everything that we like to do, even just like bedtime. Andrew has like a little routine that he does with Aiden at bedtime, and so like giving that up, like what Aiden and I did during bedtime, and seeing how much joy Aiden gets out of bedtime, like with Dad, like, you know, I don't get any, not regret, but like, I don't get upset by that. Like, oh, Aiden likes bedtime more with his dad than he does me. Like, just stepping back and like releasing that and seeing them like interact with each other like that brings me so much joy, and like all the mommy feels, and, you know, I don't know, just everything, really. We're not like, I don't know, we do really well, I think, still at it's like all about balance, dude. Andrew has like, you know, his video games and stuff that he likes to do, and that's like his time, and, you know, YouTube and social media and all of the things that I do are like my time, and the kids need their own time, like not in front of TVs, or maybe in front of the TV, and that's like their time. But I think we still do really well at like coming together at the end of the day, and like, or whenever, and doing stuff like as a family. And I think, you know, him and I realizing that and encouraging it is really important. She said, how did Andrew respond to the news of Aiden's diagnosis? If you did not know, back in March, our son Aiden, who is 4, was diagnosed autistic, high functioning, which we kind of knew, but it took forever to get into a behavioralist to actually get a diagnosis. And so Andrew was not here when we received it, which was rough.
Yeah, I had very strong suspicions that Aiden was autistic before I left. So it wasn't, when we got like the official word, so to speak, it wasn't surprising to me at all. It was just something, you know, just like, okay, you know, just roll with the punches and let's keep on going then. What can we do to help him? You know, what can we do to make his life easier, especially for the long run when he starts getting older. But I wasn't upset or anything like that. I just was, you know.
Well, and, you know, I think you were upset that not upset, like, but you were sorry that you weren't here physically for it. Like, getting that by myself was hard, even though we knew, like, I don't know, there's just something so significant about like the words she used, like once she diagnoses him, like there's no going back. Like I think that part was really hard, but the fact that we kind of did have the suspicions made it a little bit, and Andrew has a little bit of a background in dealing with autistic children anyway.
I think when I first heard it, this is well before I left, like they were saying that Aiden might be. When they very first said that, then that like broke my heart. I was really sad for him. But then you just watch him, and he's a very happy little boy. He's very happy. He doesn't realize that he has autism. You know, it doesn't matter to him.
Yeah.
So I realized like I shouldn't pity him.
Yeah.
You know, we just carry on.
Yeah.
You know, he definitely needs help, like speech and stuff like that.
Yeah. But we don't treat him different than any other kid, and we don't want anyone else to do that either. You know, there's certain things, but for the most part, we just want him treated like any other kid.
Yeah.
Miss Air Bear, Miss Karen says, what are your favorite type of movies, and what are Andrew's favorite type? My favorite are horror, hands down.
Yeah. I like action, kind of like science fiction.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Science fiction, fantasy.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do get annoyed with like if it's super cheesy.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a fan of the Transformers movies or Fast and Furious.
But Andrew loves like the original monster movies. Like he loves Godzilla and King Kong and all that, like all the originals. And you really enjoyed the new ones that came out, like the new Godzillas, the previous two.
Yeah.
Were really good.
Yeah,
I don't know about King Kong necessarily. The one with Jack Black. Did you enjoy that?
Well, Jack Black, yeah, that was pretty good.
Oh, okay.
The one directed by Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He also loves a good documentary.
Yeah.
If you catch him watching something like by himself, it's a documentary 9 times out of 10. And then I think we meet in the middle. What would we watch together? He is very harsh when it comes to criticizing horror movies. Him and my father, so most of the time I watch those with my mom, but he will take me like to the movie theater. Like we're gonna go see It #2. Him and I saw It #1 together, and those were really good. And we've gone to theaters to see other things and come out like, but we don't get to the theater really a lot. We used to when before we had kids, but I feel like that's everyone's MO. We watch like some thrillery stuff like that, but honestly, him and I would say our favorite thing that we watched together is the superhero movies. We watched all of the Marvel, almost all of them before he left, like Black Panther, Ant-Man 1 and 2. We watched like so many of them before he left. And then we're gonna rent the new Avengers here hopefully pretty soon. I think those are our favorites to watch together. But other than that, like him and I don't watch a lot of movies together. We watch a lot of shows. And so like our favorites are definitely adult cartoons.
Yeah, I like the animated, like not like Rugrats or stuff like that. You know, like not for kids, but I like it, especially watching like an animated show at the end of the day because they're usually like lighthearted and they're not full of drama or suspense, and it's a great way for me at least to unwind. Like I can just watch the show and just not have to really think about it. You know, like Futurama. I love that. I've seen that whole series I don't know how many times, but it's very relaxing. I can just sit there and watch it and not have to really concentrate on what's going on, you know.
But our absolute favorite is Bob's Burgers for sure.
Yeah.
For like both of us. His favorite, he loves Futurama. I think I used to love The Simpsons, but it just isn't the same anymore. Love Bob's Burgers. Okay, last one. What is your favorite part of being a military family? My husband is 16 and a half years in the Air Force. My mommy life YouTube. Thank you both for your service. 16 and a half years is an amazing accomplishment. What's our favorite thing about being a military family? I think the pride that comes with it. Like, I'm very proud that that's what Andrew does, and I feel like as of right now, America is very military, like
friendly.
Thankful, you know, friendly, military friendly. And so, you know, anytime you get asked like, what does your husband do, and you say, oh, you know, he's Air Force or whatever, we don't flaunt it. Like, we don't have like banners and stickers on the cars or, you know, anything like that. And not any shame to anybody who does, but Andrew's always been very particular about that for safety reasons, because unfortunately there are idiots that don't appreciate it. But yeah, I've always been very proud of Andrew and what he does and the sacrifice that both him and I make. I mean, I'm not cocky or anything like that. Like, it is a huge sacrifice for him to be in the Air Force and military in general. So I'm very, very proud of him. Do you feel like a sense of pride saying that you're in the Air Force?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's only a tiny percentage of the population who can serve.
Yeah.
You know, or who choose to serve.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of the fact that I was one of them. I don't really come from a military family. I think you, as a military member, just in general, you kind of get a broader worldview. I'd say most of the people that I know don't really pay attention to the news, you know, but they still have a pretty good worldview just because of the things that they've done, things that they've seen, places that they've been. More so than your average person. And that doesn't make us better than anybody else, by no means. It's just we have the opportunities to go out there and kind of see things and do things and get trained on stuff that, you know, the average American doesn't get. And then we get to come home and kind of share our experiences with the family, you know, and so.
We did have some really cool opportunities too when he was like, when we were over in DC. I mean, the Pope was on base. You got to see Bill Clinton, and what was that country music singer? I couldn't remember his name.
Oh, Brad Paisley.
I did say the right name. You know, and being in the hangar with Air Force One, like he had some really cool experiences that not a lot of people will get to say. We're hoping that because Aiden was born there, to take him back and like kind of go through it, and like that's something that you're tied to for life. Like it is kind of like a community and a brotherhood, especially more so for Andrew. We don't live on base now, and so like I don't have like that community of like military wives, and I get asked all the time, is it like the show Army Wives? And it 125,000% is not. I don't talk to any of the other wives at all, and you know, that's okay. Like we don't have to be friends because the boys are, but they all really get along really well, and girls, there's girls on his team as well, but it is a little bit of a sense of community, at least for Andrew. He got really, really close with some of the people, you know, being on that deployment and being away from family and having like that common thread, so many threads that are common really, so.
Yeah, I feel like the Air Force takes good care of us.
Yep.
So, I mean that in and of itself right there. Yeah, the Air Force takes care of us.
For sure.
So that's why I really love being a military family. And I do appreciate all the support that, you know, that we do get from just random people.
Yep.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yep.
I really do appreciate it.
And especially from you guys while he was gone, I specifically got a lot of encouragement and love and support from you guys, and constantly thanking Andrew for his service, and me for being here while he does serve. And so thank you to you guys as well, and thank you for asking all of your questions. That was the very last one. Anything you want to add?
No.
Okay.
Nah. Thank you. I appreciate it. Appreciate all your. Brittany would always tell me, you know, this person said this about you. This person said thank you, and so thanks for thinking of me. Thanks for thinking of Brittany.
Yes, so he's officially back. I'm gonna try and think of some more videos to do with Mr. Andrew, because he's just the bees, the knees. He's my favorite human in the whole wide world, and I think that you guys would enjoy him a little bit more in a funner setting other than, you know, just him going on about how he loves to be a military member. But I thank you guys so much for watching this video as well. If you are new, hello, welcome. Brittany Coco, Mr. Coco, this is the Coco channel. Please do subscribe if you are not already, and I will catch you guys in my next video. You wanna do it with me? Okay, bye! Can your voice go any higher than that? Okay, bye!
Bye.
Okay, bye! On a scale of 1 to 10, how fleek is my highlighter?
You what? Hey guys, welcome back to the Coco channel.
Here's a video. Now I can't say it. Hey guys, welcome back to the Coco channel. You ruined me.
What do you mean?
Now I can't say my channel because you don't take me serious. None of that made sense. If you missed that one, I will link it down below. Kaya, if you could make any more noise, that would be just fantastic.
What is she doing over
Sniffing something.
Sometimes I do, that's the chair, I promise. Sometimes
I'm very active with my hands.
it says sign required.
Why does it keep telling me that?
I have no idea.
Look, I just got a follower. Okay, here we go.
Are we starting over?
I'll start over with the question, not the intro. That took way too much. What are we doing?
Oh, I thought we were taking
We're filming a video.
Oh, we were cheesing it.
Your smile is like instant. We're filming a video. Look at how fast your smile disappears. Oh my gosh!
The smoke.
That's one of my favorite things I think I've ever done with you. Oh my gosh.